Patrie exercise 2.5 from ASL. My most traumatic memory was from when I was learning how to surf in 1987. So as I continued to learn how to surf, I slowly learned how to surf. But in 1992, I had an experience that I would never forget. So at that time, I barely had any money. So my girlfriend was willing to allow me to borrow her old surfboard. And back in the day, the surfboards didn't have any leashes or anything to connect the surfboard to your feet. There was nothing on the surfboard that allowed for that attachment of leash to your feet. So I learned how to surf without a leash. Can you imagine that? Wow. Let me go ahead and explain that a little bit more. I was still very awkward and was trying to study the waves, but still had no clue about anything of that. So I continued looking at the waves, and I still had no idea which waves to surf, which waves not to surf. But I went ahead and paddled out into the ocean. Some waves definitely came over me. I continued. And I saw a wave coming at me. And so I got onto my paddleboard and my surfboard and I paddled. I got onto my surfboard, stood up, and then the white part of the wave was coming right behind me as I was jumping and going crazy on top of my board. The board went forward, I fell off. I said, okay, that's all right. I myself can swim. That's okay. My board is somewhere else. So I've swam since I was a kid, so I continued swimming and swimming and swimming. And I could see the surfboard propped right up on the sand. So I was swimming towards it, and I continued swimming and swimming and swimming for what felt like forever. But it was really short. It was short distance. So I noticed that I was making very little progress as I continued swimming. And I was becoming tired and would go down in the water. And then it hit me. I know what's happening. I'm in a rip current. And the reason that I knew is because I kept swimming, and one time I went under. And when I was under the water, usually like as you go down, you can go down all the way to touch the floor. But I wouldn't. I would go down a little bit and then go straight up. And as I was looking to the ocean water, I looked across the coast and I saw to my left that people in the same spot were standing with the water up to their hips. And here I was in the same area, distance from the coast and deep. So I knew I was in a deep spot. So I continued swimming, and then I remembered that a friend of mine taught me to go the opposite way. So I went towards my left and I got out of the riptide, the rip current, and I finally went and got the board. But my goodness, was that a traumatic experience? Because what happens there is that the land has a really big dip in which the water goes into, and then it pulls you away. So as much as you're trying to swim towards the coast and away from the ocean, you're stuck. The only way to get out is to go either side, to the left or to the right, and towards the beach. So as I was standing there on the beach, my gosh, my heart was in my throat and I was anxious. Wow, I was so close to drowning and I did not want to drown. So I finally calmed myself down after about 20 minutes. I looked over, saw the surfboard, and I walked back.